Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the January school board meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item 2.1, roll call. Please identify that all board members are here. 2.2, is there anybody who needs to express and identify a conflict of interest? 2.3, a review and approval of the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda or to accomplish these two things.
I move we approve the agenda, Mr. President.
Okay, motion by Moulton.
Second.
Second by Lohr. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Let's 2.4, approval of the minutes of the December 8 meeting.
Move we approve the minutes for December.
Okay, motion by Lohr.
Second.
Second by Moulton. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 2.5, financial reports for December 2025.
Thank you. I'm assuming that's why you all showed up, is for this report. The general fund received the final substantial portion of the 2024 property taxes payable in 2025 in the amount of $543,000. Other revenue totaled $141,000, primarily reflected LATC's first half service reimbursement. Expenditures remained moderate during the period, resulting in an ending fund balance of $6.8 million. Capital outlay revenue for the period consisted primarily of the customary December property tax receipts, totaling $319,000. Expenditures were largely related to construction progress of the athletic complex and a debt service payment for the middle school and the high school, resulting in an ending cash balance of $1.9 million. The Special Education Fund received federal revenue in the amount of $316,000, representing reimbursement for special education expenditures under IDEA. The cash balance in this fund has maintained at a level consistent with the prior year and is reported at $3.3 million. K-12 nutrition total revenue for the month amounted to $191,000 and exceeded expenditures during the period. The ending cash balance of $166,000 is lower than the prior year, primarily due to the timing of inventory purchases and related cash outflows. Please note that we are able to clear several negative accounts in January due to donations. As a reminder, in order for accounts to be eligible for donations, we need to have a free and reduced application on file. As a reminder, that application does not have to be approved for free or reduced status. We just need to have it on file in order to put those donations towards accounts. Lake Area Technical College received revenue related to quarterly state aid payments, a CHSA grant contribution totaling $229,000, and equipment grant reimbursements. Total revenue for the month amounted to $5.6 million, exceeding disbursements of $2.7 million. As a result, the ending cash balance in this fund was $7.9 million for the month, which is higher than the prior year due to the timing of grant reimbursements. LATC Enterprise Operations operated as anticipated, with performance to increase in January as students are back on campus. In the Employee Benefit Trust, premium revenues exceeded administrative and claims related costs for the month, resulting in a positive operating position for the trust. As a result, the ending fund balance increased by $166,000 over the past 12 months, reflecting favorable claims experience and premium ratio. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Do you maybe want to announce who the donors were?
Yes, we did have a $10,000 donation, which remains anonymous, and then $10,000 also from Sharp Automotive.
So I'd like to say thanks to those charitable donors. That's very, very generous. And I'm biased, but I think Watertown's a great community to live in, and I think this is one example of what makes it a great community to have people like that helping people out. And what a great gift to families at Christmas time to have those balances cleared up. I'll entertain a motion to approve the reports.
No motion is needed for that one, John.
That's right. Okay, we'll go to 2.6, student and staff.
All right, here we go. Got a couple of groups here tonight. Thanks for coming. The Watertown High School Oral and Terp team earned a Team Excellent Award right here in Watertown. We hosted that, so great job to Mr. Boyens, Mrs. McClemens, and our advisors for hosting a South Dakota High School Activity Association event. We earned a Team Excellence Award for earning 4 or more superior ratings at the state festival. So members of the team include, and when I call your name, come on up, get your certificate, and then in your group, we want to make sure we get that group picture, and we're going to smile for that camera. Cash Hoppy, Abby Kruger, Chloe Ostahegi, Sunny Rader, Taryn Kane, Emily Calamine, Tyson Camfield, Silas Massar, and Marley Greenfield. That was the Team Excellence Award. Got the pics? Okay. The following members earned a Superior in Reader's Theater: Abby Kruger, Chloe Ostahegi, Sunny Rader, Emily Calamine, Tyson Camfield, and Silas Bassar. This was your Superior in Reader's Theater. And the following members earned a Superior in Duo: Tyson Camfield and Silas Massar. And individual superior ratings as follows: poetry, Cash Hoppy; and in storytelling, Sunny Rader. The Watertown High School Oral and Terp team members are coached by head coach Corrine Calamine and assistant coach Chelsea Brink. Come on up, coaches.
No, I'm not coming up.
Thank you.
Maybe they want to do it.
Congrats. Extra ones. Perfect, thank you.
Good job, oral interpreters. Okay, we also have some football awards from the fall. First, we'll start with some All-State awards. All-State honorable mention to the following athletes: Kessler Swenson, Lincoln Scott, and Marcus Pitkin. That was our honorable mention. And then earning All-State this year were Hunter Peterson and Caden Decker. Our academic All-State awards: Cole Hansen, Kessler Swenson, Marcus Pitkin, Braden Kleinsaucer, and Owen Peterson. Congratulations, gentlemen. All right.
Okay. Item 3.1, discussion items for LATC, public input on agenda or non-agenda items from anybody in the audience. Okay, we'll go to 4.1, or 4.1 personnel, action items for LATC.
Good evening, Cam Corey, Vice President, Lake Area Technical College. And the first item on the agenda for us this evening is we have 2 resignations for your consideration, and I am seeking the board's approval as presented.
Okay, entertain a motion to accept these resignations.
So moved.
By Rossman,
Second?
second by Rammel. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 4.1.2, contract recommendations and addendums.
The next item includes a variety of contract recommendations and addendums for your consideration. These recommendations include a variety of adjunct instructors for our spring semester. I would like to point out that one of the contract recommendations identifies Erin Olson as a reduction of 129 days. She remains a valued member of our faculty. That is just a reduction in her department supervisor, of which she resigned that position, and the board had taken, had approved that at a previous meeting.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the contract recommendations and addendums.
I move to approve the contract recommendations and addendums.
Motion by Rammel,
Second?
second by Rossman. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 4.1.3, stipend requests.
This item for your consideration is a stipend request for 3 faculty members at Lake Area Technical College who are continuing their education, and we recommend approval of these 3 educational stipends as presented.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the stipend requests.
I move that we approve the stipend requests as listed.
Okay, motion by Rossman,
Second?
second by Rammel. Questions, comments? I say hats off to these people for advancing their knowledge,
Yes, I agree.
pursuing degrees. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Brings us to 4.2.1, authority to bid a motor grader.
Lake Area Tech requests your authority to bid for a motor grader in support of our heavy equipment operator program. This equipment is funded through FY26 Perkins funding and is budgeted at $115,000.
Do you know what length of time how many years of life we get out of a piece of equipment like this?
I honestly do not know what the time. I know a lot of our equipment in the heavy equipment operator, if it is not leased, it is older equipment that is still used.
I was gonna guess at 115,000, that's
Yeah.
not very new, probably, most likely. Okay, entertain a motion to approve this authority to bid.
Mr. President, I move we approve the authority to bid for the motor grader as explained.
Okay, motion by Moulton,
Second?
second by Lohr. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 4.2.2, authority to bid and annotage table.
Lake Area Tech requests your authority to bid for 1 annotage table in support of our nursing program. This equipment is funded through FY26 Perkins funding and is budgeted at $107,666. This table would go to our peer campus for our nursing program to support them out there.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve this authority to bid.
So moved.
Motion by Moore,
Second.
second by Moulton. Okay, questions, comments?
These are phenomenal. The detail, actual human body, what capability of what you can change, view.
Yeah, it's an asset to the education, and not having a human cadaver available, it is state of the art.
These are similar, I think you explained, to what Northeast Tech has.
We actually have two of these tables at our campus here at Lake Area Tech for our nursing program and sim center, and they're very similar to what Northeast Tech has. This is just takes another one out to peer.
They are absolutely wonderful. They are just so amazing. So it's a great thing for our students. We had the motion, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 4.2.3, consider lease agreements.
Our final item on the agenda for Lake Area Tech this evening is a request for the approval of two low-cost equipment leases from TransSource in support of our heavy equipment operator program. These leases are for two-wheel loaders, each on a 12-month term at $1,000 each.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve this equipment lease.
I move we approve the equipment leases as explained.
Motion by Moulton,
Second.
second by Lohr. Questions, comments? Again, this is a great deal for school at $1,000 a month for a piece of equipment that's well over $250,000.
Yeah, if we were to actually purchase these outright, it would be closer to $360,000, and so we're able to provide this equipment to industry standard. They're 2024 models, and of course, it's good stewards of taxpayer money.
Yeah, it's good. Any other comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Carr.
Yes.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
That takes us to 5.1, public input on agenda or non-agenda items. Hearing none, we'll go to 5.2, Northeast Technical High School report.
Yep, we have our superintendent's meeting. We were weathered out in December, so we're gonna have that tomorrow. So may have some updates for the board at some point in that. And then reminder to board members that the regular board meeting for Northeast Tech is next Wednesday, the 21st at 5:45.
That brings us to 5.3, the K-12 technology update, and Mr. Cruz is on hand to do that for us.
Hi.
Good evening.
Yes.
I'll let Mr. Barrios get the slideshow up here. Well, I find it apt that it is January and I'm giving the State of the Technology address. As a former history and government teacher, I find the irony in that, but bear with me for a while. I'll try not to use too much jargon here and just kind of run you through the state of technology within the Watertown School District. So to begin, just an introduction to technology in the district. The goal of educational technology integration is to assist and enhance the teaching and learning and the efficiency of that. Our goal is always to use technology as a tool to enhance the learning and the teaching, not for the sake of technology itself. And you'll hear me say that quite often in my discussion tonight. The other thing I think that's essential to keep in mind is when technology is working well, it should be invisible. It shouldn't be something that is on the forefront. It's something that's just on the back burner. Something that I, keep in mind with this, one of my first technology and education classes I had, one of the professors had made the comment, a pencil would technically be considered educational technology, which sounds kind of ridiculous, at hand, but when you think about it, that has become such an integral part of what school was, that's the invisibleness we're talking about. And I'll go a little more in depth into what I mean about that in some later slides, but something to just keep in mind. Our mission as the tech department is to provide secure, reliable, and innovative technology and support that empowers students to succeed in an ever-changing world. So kind of backing off of what the district's mission statement is, our goal is to support that as well. So continuing on, this is the technology department. There are 6 of us. I am the IT director. My network administrator is Tim Comas. He's the one who does a lot of the building and maintaining of our servers and the network itself. My administrative assistant is Sue Heidemann. And then Alex Hansen, Michael Steidel, and Austin Thompson are all technicians within our department that work at all the schools within the district. I'm sure students and staff have seen them around at every building, and they're kind of everywhere helping with everything. The department wears a lot of hats. We kind of have our hands in everything technology related within the district. Educational technology in the classroom all the way to the from educational technology in the classroom and the everyday learning to the technical side of things like building and operating our servers, which we don't really need to get into, but we do help and are involved in all of that. So the history teacher in me would have to go down some of just kind of the history of educational technology in the recent few decades. And it's kind of important to keep some of this in mind as we go forward and we discuss how educational technology is being used in our district. So starting in the early 90s, personal computers started becoming more affordable and widespread, and we started seeing people utilize the personal computer within their own home, and we started seeing it come into classrooms more. Many of us probably remember as students being in the classroom of having classroom computers that were shared amongst many students. You transitioned that into the late 90s and the internet started becoming mainstream, and I would say that time was kind of one of the diverging points of educational technology, and the internet kind of changed everything and the way we know it and the way we teach and the way we operate just societally. Going forward into the early 2000s, we start seeing one-to-one programs start beginning in K-12 education and start becoming more mainstream. The 2010s or the early 2010s, we start seeing smartphones, cloud computing, and social media taking off. And obviously that is still some of the world we are living in, and we'll discuss some of that going forward, but that really is a technology that's only about 15 years old. And then going into the late 2010s, we have things like learning management systems start becoming mainstream, so it becomes easier for teachers to utilize online classroom platforms, definitely more user-friendly and accessible for all users. And then to the mid-2020s, we start seeing artificial intelligence taking off, and I would akin the artificial intelligence movement to that of the beginning of the internet, and it will be kind of a turning point, not just in education, but in the world as we know it. And I'll discuss that a little more at the end of my presentation about how we, what that might look like going forward. Some things to keep in mind in this, technological evolution is kind of a juxtaposition in my eyes. It has been evolutionary and incremental, however, it happened very quickly when we think historically. 35 years is a very quick turnaround for the type of change we're talking about, and that is why sometimes it's easy and it's hard to keep those two in mind, that this is a very new and relative way of teaching and learning when we think public education historically. It's easy to forget how quickly things have changed because longstanding traditional pedagogy strategies and approaches have changed very quickly, and for many of us they've changed within our generation of teaching. Each step has brought increased access to all involved, but it's also brought increased responsibility. The technology has really gone from shared, in terms of education, a shared experience to a personal experience. And I'll also hit more on that as we go forward and talk about how we utilize some of the technology in our district. So the state of technology within the Watertown School District. Again, it is important to know where we have been to know where we are going. Back in 2003, Watertown was one of the first school districts within the state and possibly even the nation to go one-to-one at the high school level with personal computing devices. That was a very monumental shift. Watertown was a pioneer in that regard, and we hope to get kind of back to that status of being a pioneer in how we utilize educational technology continuing forward. By 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, all grades were by then one-to-one, where students had access to a device for each student, or we had a device that each student would be able to access at the same time. They weren't necessarily assigned to them probably until the COVID pandemic, and we had a need for kids bringing devices home. But I would say about 2018 was when we look at that, of us officially being a one-to-one district. So going on to the devices, kind of what people think about when we talk technology in the Watertown School District, we think devices. These are the main 3 devices. Really, it's only 2 devices, but 3 different styles that we use within our district, K-12. All the primary grades through 6th grade use the version on the far left. That is later generation iPads, so pre-11th generation. So right now I think we're operating on maybe some 7th generation iPads all the way to 10th generation iPads from the kindergarten level to the 6th grade level. iPads have proven very good for longevity. They stand the test of time rather well. The middle school has the 11th generation iPad. This year they received those new. And over Christmas we installed new cases on them with keyboards, so that is a shift as well. One of the updates that came out this fall from Apple was iOS 26, which pushes the iPad to operate more like a MacBook, especially when you have a keyboard and trackpad. So we're trying to bridge that gap between what the high school currently has and the MacBook, which you can see on the right, and that's what our high school has. And so as students go through the middle levels, hopefully they can start learning some of those nuances and differences between operating a MacBook and an iPad, because there are some subtle shifts, but they have become more subtle now with the new update. The high school, as I said, uses MacBook Air, which is also what our staff has. So these are the devices we are currently using. Again, this is ever changing, but for right now, that is where we are. And as we keep going, I'll kind of talk about why we chose those devices. So next slide, WSD by the numbers. So the district is largely an Apple district. We do have several other brands. We do have PCs, but most of what we use for most things in our district are Apple products, the MacBook and the iPad. We have many peripheral devices, so things that enhance the learning that are not considered the personal devices. Things like our view boards, our projectors, Apple TVs, cameras, and many other tools are found within our classrooms and around the district. And then access points, people often forget about. This is also a major device that we find around our district, keeping everybody connected to the internet. We have access points in all of our buildings and in places people many times forget about. We operate the network, so like the transportation department, Northeast Technical High School, the football stadium, Allen Mitchell Athletic Complex, things like that. So we have about 5,000 devices overall within our district, and I would say this represents daily dependability. This is not excessive. Now I have like 1,800 MacBooks. That's including high school students, all of the staff in the district, and then enough extra so we have replacements when things break, which that does happen. As I stated, iPads are used all the way through 8th grade. However, several staff have iPads just due to some of the software and apps and curriculum running differently on an iPad than a MacBook. So why Apple? Some of the reasons we choose Apple over other options, I've been asked this several times. The reliability and longevity seems to be better with Apple products than it does with some of the PCs. The ease of management. Apple has good management software where we can manage these, the MacBooks and iPads, these 4,000 devices. The management is quite a bit of work, and Apple does have pretty good management software for us to be able to keep things secure and safe for all students. The security, that's also a big part of it. Apple tends to be more secure than many other devices. The educational ecosystem is probably one of the bigger issues and reasons we choose Apple, because they do have a whole educational side to their company that they focus on education, building apps to help from all the primary levels all the way through even higher education. Some of our kids taking dual credit classes and things like that. The user experience is much more refined, and it makes it more, like I said, an invisible tool rather than knowing how to use the technology itself. And rather than that being cumbersome, it's more of an invisible, this is just how I use my device in my daily learning. The upfront cost sometimes seems higher, but the lifespan of the devices is longer, and it kind of equals out in the end because our resale value on them is much higher than they would be on other products as well. All of these devices directly support the operation of the district, as well as support instruction and learning throughout our entire district. Moving on, our goal is always the safety and security and access to the internet. Safety and security are our top priority when we talk about the network. We have, so the safety of access within our network, we have a layered protection to many of the approaches we have. Age appropriateness is a factor in that. So the way it kind of works is the state, we have our network kind of through the state, so that's kind of the baseline safety and security. But from there, we have many other filtering devices and monitoring programs, so we can decide based on age, grade level, and what students need access to. We also are involved in the continuous monitoring, reviewing, and improvement of the network. It's something that is evolving and changing, and it is not static in terms of network and safety and security. It's something that we approach every day, and we take questions on every day and reevaluate every day as things come up. So teaching tech skills, I put tech in parentheses because really this kind of has evolved into just teaching skills. These are the life skills we are teaching. They used to be thought of technology first, but they have advanced into more just life skills. Things like skill instruction coupled with critical thinking, problem solving, digital citizenship, vetting source material. These are things that students are going to need to be able to do once they leave the K-12 educational system and go out into the greater world, whether that be the workforce, whether that be continuing their education in some post-secondary type of form. They are going to need all of these skills, and this is really what they used to call 21st century skills, but they have just become skills in general. As I said, these are life skills, not software skills. And as we go forward, there is going to be more of a continued push to get more of these skills back into the greater curriculum at large, because these are things that students need not just for operating technology, but for all the curriculum they use and going out into whatever it may be beyond our halls in our buildings. So the future of educational technology, or the future of technology. This is me just kind of, through my experience and my research, some of the things and trends that I see coming to fruition in years to come, whether that may be a couple years down the road or more years farther down, that remains to be seen, but I will just kind of work through some of these. I kind of operate under the 4 pillars that I put on the board. Technology should always be an invisible tool. We want something that is reliable and dependable, but it should be there and work for the learning that is happening in the classrooms. From access to understanding is the second pillar. By and large, when the internet came about, information became accessible to everyone. That was a shift from before, where teachers were largely the harborers of that information, and then they had things like textbooks, encyclopedias, journals, things like that you could access information to, but it was not easy and it was not as quickly accessible. That has been the crux of educational technology to this point, is access. What that is changing to now that access is kind of mainstream and widespread, it's shifting to comprehending the information. And how do we do that better? And that's our goal going forward. And then comes artificial intelligence. I kind of prefaced this, but artificial intelligence, what we need to do with that going forward is it's more of a literacy issue. How do we use this appropriately? How do we use it as a tool? It is not a shortcut for finding information or doing your work for you, but it is turning into more of a tool. I tend to liken it back to when Google first came out in the early 2000s. There was some pushback at that time as well that, can we just let kids find stuff on the internet? And the tool is here to stay. It's not going to be going away, and so we do need to teach kids how to use it responsibly and appropriately. And I do, in my opinion, believe that going forward, search engines as we know them are going to transition to a more artificial technology approach where it's just a user-based experience and things will come up as the artificial intelligence learns the person it's working with, and it will be able to generate better responses, better outcomes, things like that. And I'll hit a little bit more on that in a bit. And then our goal is to always teach students skills that are going to outlast the device. And a lot of what that is that devices are going to continue to evolve and change. We haven't seen a ton of it up to this point. The personal computer is still the personal computer, but as we go forward, that is going to continue to change. And what we've seen a lot of in recent years, especially the last couple, is just everything is connected to the internet. For instance, most of you probably know just from this fall, even things like the lights at the Allen Mitchell Athletic Complex are connected to the internet. Just everything we touch is connected. So it doesn't mean that we're going to have more screens necessarily. We're just going to use things that are connected, and we need to know how to operate those things and how to live within the means we have and do that appropriately and responsibly. So the future of technology in education, what this looks like maybe more on the student and teaching side of it. Customization has come into education at large more in the last decade, and I think that is going to continue as well. One-to-one devices have allowed for greater customization, and we are just going to see faster speeds and more connected devices, as I stated, as we go forward, and we're going to have more customization options, and we're going to be able to meet the needs of more learners in more circumstances much more quickly and easier than we have in the past. The skills we teach are also going to be a little bit different. We are teaching more how to analyze information, which has always kind of been a thing, but as we go forward, those of you who are on social media probably have or maybe have not noticed the rise in artificial intelligence generated content on social media and being able to verify if that is accurate or not. Even in terms of media, like video, photos, things like that, it's now almost indiscernible if you can tell if it was generated artificially or if it's something that is real. And so part of what we want to do going forward is teach students how to verify sources, how to vet material. As a social studies teacher, that has always been part of our curriculum, but it's now expanding into all content areas, not just social studies. But I think we'll just see more and more of that as we continue on. And then personalization, that is maybe the biggest part of it. Devices and curriculum are going to continue to become more personalized, where the device itself tailors itself to the user and the user experience. And things may be different for each user on each device. And that will just continue to be more proliferated at all levels as students have their device. And we may see things like students bringing their device with them as they move. Right now, our devices kind of stay within the grade they're at and the students move. But as we go forward, I definitely see students maybe bringing devices with them as they go, just because those devices will become more tailored to that user itself. And then a little more on the future of technology. It's going to become more adaptive rather than static. It's going to respond to student needs rather than have to be prompted. The technology itself will respond without having to be prompted. Data will continue to be personalized and help teachers understand where to go. It will not replace professional judgment. And teachers will remain central to the instructional process with technology giving tools to help increase the student-teacher engagement. That's the one thing I want to hit on is a lot of people get scared or hesitant when we talk educational technology and screens and think we're kind of pushing the teacher out. If anything, we are generating ways to have the teacher-student relationship be more comprehensive and have that be built up even further and more robust than we have in the past, because it frees us up from having to be as involved with prompting the technology or doing stuff on our own with the technology, because it will do it for us. You know, for instance, when I'm in mini meetings, I have an AI that can, now take notes for me rather than sitting there and having to take my own notes. And at the end of the meeting, it will kind of give me a rundown of the action items that were generated during that meeting, what I have to do, and it'll give me an outline of the things that were discussed. And that's just a simple, way that I use it, but that will just become more and more mainstream, so we can be more present as humans, having those human interactions while the technology works in the background. So I do want to, put that out there. Many times people are cautionary when we talk educational technology in terms of it's taking away the human experience, but I think it will do nothing but enhance our human experience within education going forward. And then, just to leave you with this, as I said, our mission statement is to provide secure, reliable, and innovative technology and support that empowers students to succeed in an ever-changing world. This mission statement guides every decision we make on a daily basis. We kind of revert back to this. We view our goal and our responsibility as a stewardship of the district's money, data, and trust. And so the decisions we make are based on that. And the ultimate measure of success is student readiness for the broader world after K-12 schooling. So I'll entertain any questions you may have about the technology or the state of technology within our district at this time, but that is what I have for where we are at with the Watertown School District and technology.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. I'm sure there will be some questions. Go ahead. Anybody?
Just
Okay.
one question I had just while you were talking. Great job, by the way. Thank you. Very informational. How frequently are staff receiving, ongoing training? Is it almost every in-service? Is it just they're doing things online to learn more? It just depends on the year. What does that kind of look like for staff?
That's a little bit of a tougher question
Okay.
to answer, just because, as I stated, the same thing for students is also true for staff, and a lot of our training coincides technologically as it does with professional development in regards to the teaching profession. It is very hard to differentiate the two at this point, and so much of our curriculum is online. Much of the tools we use are online, and so with the professional development in terms of pedagogy, strategies, things like that, also comes professional development with using that, the tool that goes with that from the technology side of things.
I would say traditionally that this district has been excellent as far as training teachers over the decades. And by the way, we were third in the nation.
What was it, third? That's
Yeah,
I knew it was
laptops.
up there.
And both Mr. Ivis and I were on the ground floor when it was started here.
I was a student
Yeah.
when it started.
Yeah.
High school.
I'm going to date myself, because I've been working with computers for 50 years. And I started in 1976 with the Commodore 64, and actually working with Watertown School District on TTY machine.
So you can appreciate the
Yeah,
change that has happened quickly, but also at the same time doesn't seem like it all the time.
exactly. As far as AI, it's kind of a brave new world. AI actually can self-teach itself. Doesn't take a programmer to tell it every step and move. It actually can teach itself, so it's something interesting to come. As far as access, you should know that the database is supplied to the library.
Yes.
Library skills, research skills. This district has been phenomenal as far as that access for kindergarten through 12th grade. The high school library is actually turned into a college level library. And only 2 universities in the state actually do more research than our students here. That was true when I left that job, and I know it's still true. So the quality of students we turn out and send to universities, colleges, tech schools, their skills are phenomenal. as far as research, because we're teaching them how to do it correctly, not just
I would
Google.
agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree, and I think that's also part of, the Google comment is more of a widespread, but I would agree that we have phenomenal librarians who are able to bring a lot of the access typically that wasn't seen until a college level down to our younger levels.
Mhm.
And even as somebody who's taken, postgraduate level classes, sometimes it's easier just to go through our district rather than try to do it through
Actually,
college.
we spend quite a bit of time teaching teachers how to get in and do their
Yep.
masters or their dissertations, thesis, etc. Good point. And that's true of all grade levels, kindergarten through 12th grade. We provided databases that for each level and all abilities of students. Something to remember too is that computers are excellent, particularly when you're writing research papers or doing assignments, is that when you're using a computer, you're doing proofreading and editing, as opposed to if a student sits down to write an essay by hand, they're actually more engaged with their brain because they're thinking at a quite different level, whereas computers provide a total different aspect to writing. So it's correction, yep.
I would agree with that.
I wish that we did a lot of our testing actually by hand. The thing about computer screens is actually on a piece of paper you read deeper and more comprehensive than actually you do on a computer screen, and that's probably still a bit true. The human eyeball hasn't quite evolved to computer screen yet.
I would agree with that. I think in large part what pushes the screen side of it and the technology side of it is the data, part of it, and that it's just easier to compile data at that point. And then, a lot of our current curriculums and assessment tools, with the future of AI, it's going to help us compile that data and then give learning plans on a more personalized level than we have. And it's important to remember that we are still in a time of change. This is in 5 years, this is going to look nothing like what I'm talking about now. And so really the brink of AI is kind of where we were in the 90s with the brink of the internet, and it's going to change how we do a lot of things. And that is where I think we do need to kind of be on the forefront of things and make sure we're doing things responsibly, doing things appropriately, and not just be, railroaded into having to do something just because the wider world is trying to do something that way.
Exactly. I always encourage my students to print out their documents so that they were reading at a deeper level and proofreading that as well. But the phenomenal tool that computers have given us over the decades it's just mind-bending what my students were able to do, and teachers.
How often are the devices replaced? Are they on a rolling schedule?
So traditionally, I would say if we just took an average, it's probably 5 years. But I will say when Apple started making their own chips, and we have what's called the M1 processor, which is what our students and staff currently have, those have lasted very well. And we have found those are lasting much longer than devices used to. It kind of depends. Some things get lifespanned out just due to they can't be upgraded more, even though they may not seem like they're not working. Sometimes they can't be upgraded to the point that it works with our curriculum or our software. That's probably the bigger issue at hand. In terms of device usage, I would say 5 years is a good marker, because at 5 years we can still surplus them and get a good resale value for the Apple products.
Yeah, it is amazing how long they last.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thinking about AI, as you said, things are just so rapidly changing. Is it, as we think about the vision that we have for AI for the entire school district, it has to be probably implemented in very different ways at the classroom level. Is it really up to teachers' discretion right now about how AI is being used in their classrooms, if it's being used at all? Is there a policy for that, or is it?
Well, as of right now, in terms of accessing AI on our devices, students do not really have access to the AI tools.
Okay.
Other than, I will say, it is becoming more mainstream in that it is hard to even do a Google search without getting AI results right away.
Right.
Our staff does have access to AI tools. through Google Gemini and Microsoft Copilot. We have enterprise editions through the state, supplies us with that, and then they are able to access OpenAI, which would be ChatGPT as well. Students though do they find ways around it at times? Absolutely, and that's just becoming harder and harder to stop as everything is kind of turning into having some type of AI bot. But I think that's where, even next month we have a professional development for our staff on AI, and we will look at how to implement it in the classroom for student use, and then for teachers to use for generating lessons, helping them bolster their pedagogy as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate you recognize your staff there. I have really bad computer karma, so I have been in there multiple times, and they're great. They're really good. Give me a computer and it'll have a problem. Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Cruz.
That brings us to item 5.4, the budget calendar.
Yes, the 26-27 budget calendar is provided for your review. Just a note to the board, our budget work session, which is a special board meeting that we schedule, is scheduled now for April 27th at 5
Okay.
p.m. So mark that date in your calendar.
Okay, good. First reading of 5.5, first reading of policies.
Okay. We have several for you to take a look at. The majority of them are review, so GBCD. Staff disclosure of misconduct is a review. GBEA, staff ethics, conflict of interest is a review. GBEBC, internal controls and fiscal code of ethics is review. The lone exception of this batch is GBGA, staff health, and that is because the certificate of health is not a requirement at this point, so recommending removal of that, and we do have coverage for health under other policies. And then GBGC, Employee Assistance Program, and GBGC-P, the Administrative Procedure of the Employee Assistance Program, are both review. I would note that those did not have comparable policies at the state level to compare them to, because employee assistance programs are not required for school districts to have. That is a benefit that we offer, so and that still matches up what we offer from the employee assistance program. So
Okay.
those are all first readings.
First reading, so we'll deal with those next. It'll be an action item next month.
Correct.
Okay, let's go to item 6.1, approval of the bills. Entertain a motion to approve the bills.
I move we approve the bills.
Motion by Moulton,
Second.
second by Lohr. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 6.2, personnel.
2 resignations for your consideration and recommend approval.
Okay, entertain a motion to accept these resignations.
Move that we approve the resignations as listed.
Motion by Rossman,
Second.
second by Rammel. Questions, comments?
Just always a note on the extracurricular activities are considered open or pending suitable replacement.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. 6.2.2, contract recommendations and addendums.
Yeah, just a variety of contracts, and some changes in there, with some new hires as well. Would recommend your approval of those as presented.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the contract recommendations and addendums.
I move to approve the contract recommendations and addendums as presented.
Motion by Rammel,
Second.
second by Rossman. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. 6.2.3.
2 staff members completing credits for their continuing education. Would recommend those be approved for payment.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the stipend request.
Move that we approve the stipend request as listed.
Okay, motion by Rossman,
Second.
second by Rammel. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 6.3.1, consider school bus Sourcewell bids.
Yes, just to begin, a note to the board, these are for 26-27 budget year, so it would be budgeted in the 26-27 capital outlay budget, as these two buses would not be received until July. We are recommending the approval of a 2027 17-passenger bus equipped with a lift and a special needs seating. So this would be for our special education program, and that bus is at $148,689, and this is under an approved Sourcewell contract, along with a 2027 77-passenger bus for $148,725 under the same contract. And again, those buses are scheduled for delivery in July.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the school bus Sourcewell bids.
I move we approve the Sourcewell bids for school buses.
Okay, motion by Moulton,
Second.
second by Lohr. Questions, comments?
I did forget to note that we just received word that we received a clean diesel grant, which will support one of our bus purchases, and that will pay for up to $37,984 of one of the buses.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for pursuing that grant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 6.3.2, consider direct sale proposal from Johnson Controls.
It is recommended to approve the material-only contract to purchase the HVAC equipment to accommodate the cooling engineered in size for Lincoln and Jefferson Elementary. So if anybody doesn't know yet, it is official. We are air conditioning the rest of our buildings, so Lincoln and Jefferson will get cooling this summer. That is also under a Sourcewell contract in the amount of $622,000. Looking for your approval on that.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve this purchase from Johnson Controls.
I move we approve or consider direct sales proposal by Johnson Controls.
Okay, motion by Lohr,
Second.
second by Moulton. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 6.4, authorize preschool fees for the year 2026.
Yes, it is recommended to charge $225 per month, and this is over 10 months for preschool. So that annual amount for families would be $2,250. This is for the preschool tuition. If families would like to take advantage of the transportation option, that would be $30 per month over 10 months or $300 per year. And this is for the 26-27 school year. Just to note, the tuition rate, that is just a $5 per month increase for that monthly amount.
And this would be going into effect in August,
Correct. Yep,
For
so
the-
the payments are August through the month of May.
so the 26-27 school year.
Yes,
is what we're
correct.
talking about. Okay. Entertain a motion to approve or authorize these preschool fees for 2026-27.
I move we authorize preschool fees for 2026 as explained.
Okay, motion by Moulton,
Second.
second by Lohr. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 6.5, authorize driver education fees.
It is recommended to charge $360 per student in 2026 for the driver's education program. A note that this is no increase from last year. This amount is the same. I just said that. The supporting documentation outlining the calculation is included within the packet. Please note that the Aero Education Board also pays 75% of those that qualify for free and reduced meals.
Okay, entertain a motion to authorize driver education fees for the summer of 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the driver ed fees for 2026 as presented.
Motion by Lohr,
Second.
second by Moulton. Questions, comments? I'd like to thank the Aero Education Foundation for their generosity. It's another example. I don't know of any other community that's doing something like this to help out their kids. Also, as a former driver ed teacher, God bless those of you who are doing it now. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 6.6, second reading of various policies.
Yes. With all of these, Mr. Chair, we have no changes from the first reading, so recommending your approval of each of them.
Okay, And we do them one by one.
Correct.
6.6.1, facilities planning. Entertain a motion to approve this policy.
Mr. President, I move we approve policy FB, facilities planning.
Okay, motion by Moulton,
Second.
second by Lowell. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 6.6.2, policy FEE, site acquisition procedure. Entertain a motion to approve this policy.
So moved.
Motion by Lore,
Second.
second by Moulton. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 6.6.3, FFA memorials. Entertain a motion to approve this policy.
I move we approve policy FFA for memorials.
Okay, second.
Second.
Second by Laura. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 6.6.4, GAA, evaluation policy and procedures. Entertain a motion to approve this policy.
I'll make a motion to approve GAA.
Okay, motion by Laura,
Second.
second by Moulton. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 6.4 is approved. 6.6.5, GAEB, grievance policy for non-certified staff. Entertain a motion to approve this policy.
I move that we approve GAEB grievance procedure for non-certified staff.
Okay, motion by Moulton,
Second.
second by Laura. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That brings us to 6.7.1, open enrollment.
Yes, we have 3 open enrollment requests for your consideration. Recommend approval of those 3.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve these 3 open enrollment requests.
Move that we approve the 3 open enrollment requests as listed.
Okay, motion by Rossman,
Second?
second by Rammel. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That brings us to 6.7.2.
Yes, 132810 for your consideration.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve this 1328-10 request.
I move that we approve the 132810 request as presented.
Okay, motion by Rammel,
Second?
second by Rossman. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Brings us to 7.1, administrative reports.
A couple of announcements. Today is the beginning of the new semester, so we are embarking on semester number 2, quarter number 3. The legislative session starts tomorrow, and the State of the State is at 1 p.m. You can watch that on South Dakota Public Broadcasting. Had a good meeting right before the break with a committee I call Friends of Arrows, some folks that I invited in to kind of talk about school funding and some things related to the school district and enrollment numbers and some of that. So looking to expand on that a little bit with some staff presentations and possibly another meeting after the legislative session. A reminder that we have early dismissal on January 23rd at 12:30. That's 12:20 at the pre-K 4 buildings. And the exciting news around that day is first we will have some staff training at the middle school, and then around 3 o'clock we will start our staff member of the year process. And so excited about that, certified and classified. We have our selection committee right after the BISCO meeting. I'm curious if Mrs. Rammel would be our representative from the board on that, since she'll already be there for the BISCO meeting on the 20th. Surprise! If not, you can let me know. You can let me know.
Okay, sounds good.
Didn't mean to spring that on you on live TV. Also, before our next board meeting, put a plug in for the Arrowhead Pizza Bash. That is on Friday, January 30th, in conjunction with the boys and girls basketball doubleheader here. Starts at 5 and it usually runs till halftime of the first varsity game, I think. And then just a comment, kind of a editorial on the legislature. We did have a good meeting with our a couple of our legislative reps here from District 5. That was also prior to the break and prior to the session. Right now in the governor's proposed budget, it's recommended that there be a 0% increase for K-12 public education. Putting that out into the ether here today. But 4 possible areas that we believe in the school districts that legislators could find money for K-12 education. By the way, there is a state statute, not a state suggestion, that school districts be funded at 3% or the CPI rate, whichever is less. I've seen numbers anywhere between 2.4 and 2.8, which is 2.4 or 2.8% more than 0. A couple of suggestions or areas that we think, and if you communicate with legislative representation, one, in the budget address, it was suggested that reserves move from 10% to 12.5%. So thinking that in a year where everything else is tight, it's not the year to increase reserves. Instead, spend that on programming in the state for the residents of South Dakota. Education would get in line for some of that. The second area is, so our state funding formula changed about 10 years ago. We added a 0.5-cent sales tax. That was to help with K-12 education, specifically for teacher pay. Again, a couple years ago, our legislature reduced the sales tax rate from 4.5 to 4.2. So there's a 0.3 that is not being collected that was to some extent sold on the backs of K-12 education. So getting a 0 when that sits there like that seems like there could be some adjustment made there. There was also $14 million left unappropriated in the budget. 14% is incidentally about what it costs to do a 1% increase to K-12 education. And then the governor noted an overall drop to the K-12 education enrollment numbers of approximately 1,600 students. And that money was taken out of K-12 education and reappropriated into the budget. That also is the equivalent of about a 1% increase for schools if like a hold harmless is left on the funding amount. So 4 areas to talk about. Obviously there'll be all kinds of bills going through there. There's a few that have dropped already. We'll be paying attention to those and keep the board informed. And we've given contact to our legislators so they kind of know where we have. Anyway, the fun starts tomorrow.
Okay. Good. Board reports to the superintendent. Are there any board reports to be made at this time?
That one I should make my statement.
So I'll be putting in, should I say that now, that I'll be putting in my petition for,
Yeah, so petitions for school board openings, which Rochelle's position would be open her 3-year term, start on February 2nd for circulating petitions.
thank you, and I do intend to take one out, so,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you.
So your hat is in the ring.
Hat's in the ring. I guess I said it out loud now.
Okay,
It's
yep.
official.
We will I'll entertain a motion to move to executive session. The topic would be the superintendent's evaluation.
And no action after for our press. There'd be no action after that. So.
I move to executive session, Mr. President.
Okay, motion by Mopin,
Second.
second by Lohr. Questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So at 6:39, we are moving into executive session.